what I've noticed that there's a misconception with regards to cybersecurity costs.
Mhm.
People tend to think that cybersecurity is quite expensive. Well, yeah, I view not to argue, with regards to that part, because there are one of those solutions, we call them that's like a top tier solutions, which are the ones that can be more suitable for bigger organizations. You know what I'm saying? But there are small solutions that small medium enterprises that can use. For instance, I'll make a typical example. You can also apply what you call an antivirus on your machines, ensure that you have an antivirus that is running. You can invest into not so huge firewalls. You know what I'm saying?
As technology advances very rapidly and the world becomes more and more interconnected, so does the risk in cybersecurity. According to an article by the Center for Cybersecurity available on the World Economic Forum's website, cyber attacks in the financial sector poses a serious threat not only to global financial security, but could result in serious, huge losses causing major disruptions. The month of October observes and celebrates cybersecurity awareness, and this year's theme is Secure Our World. Let's get into today's episode. Hello, fellow trailblazers. Welcome to another video on My Money Adventures podcast. If you are new to the channel, my name is Tukiso TK Ntebe, previously known as the Finance Bachelor, now the Finance Traveler. In today's episode, I get to speak to Mr. Tumelo Masasa from Tethix, a company that is blazing the trail when it comes to cybersecurity in Lesotho, but also across the African continent. And they are today's sponsor they are the sponsor for today's episode. So without wasting any more time, let's get straight into the conversation. My good sir, good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, TK.
How do you feel?
I'm super excited, to be honest.
Super excited?
Yeah, this is one of the exciting months, especially when we are in Cybersecurity Awareness Month.
Cybersecurity. Before we get into the excitement, let's maybe backtrack a bit and let's start with introductions. For people who don't know who you are, tell us a bit about who you are and tell us a bit about your company.
All right. No, thank you very much. I'm super excited to be around and to discuss the cybersecurity measures basically for this month. Well, my name is Tumelo Masasa. I come from Tethix. Well, I have an extensive background in terms of cybersecurity for around about over 9 years or so counting. I've been delivering cybersecurity solutions across the country, implementing cybersecurity solutions from the organizations, as corporations, as well as local institutions, basically just trying to help them out in terms of educations and stuff like that. Tethix, it's like as you've mentioned, it's a local cybersecurity company that's dedicated to providing ethical cybersecurity practices. It consists of 5 members who are coming from various sectors who share the common vision of ensuring that we keep the world safer. Like a digital space safer.
So you are on My Money Adventures podcast, and I asked this question to all my clients and all my guests.
All right.
If you were to describe your relationship with money using one word, what would that word be?
Oh, wow. I wasn't expecting that, by the way.
Nobody ever does.
Yeah, you cut me off guard on that one. In one word.
Or a phrase. It could also be a sentence.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can say that I'm trying my best to maintain like a healthy relationship with my money. Even sometimes though, I just have that unhealthy spendings by breaking the bank, but I try by all means. I have a concept or a model that I've adopted basically ever since the previous 2 years, and it's been working quite very well for me. The model is basically like a 50-20
30 rule.
30, yeah, exactly.
So you're
Yeah,
applying
so-
the 50, 30, 20 budgeting rule.
Exactly.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
exactly.
I've actually
I've
never
tried.
heard anybody on the podcast mention a specific budgeting technique. So I'm very impressed. Very impressed. Very, very impressed.
All right.
Sure. Cool.
You really inspired me because I mean, from the newsletters that you always provide all the time, so it's something that I always come through every time. It's
Hold on. So you actually read that newsletter?
Yeah.
By the way, guys, we have a
definitely.
newsletter that comes out every Monday at 9 o'clock, and I actually never thought people read that newsletter, so I'll plug it in the conversation. So I'm very you're just ticking all the boxes today. Thank you. Anyway, let's
Right.
continue with sorry for the interruption. Continue.
No, it's fine. Okay. Like I've mentioned, like we have like 5 members within the team, coming from various sectors, from private companies, sectors like bankings, telecommunications, and government, as well as private entities as well.
Sure.
So we have an extensive experiences for over around about 9 years amongst ourselves, delivering cybersecurity solutions individually from different institutions. So we came across one another, and then we just decided to sit down and see how best we can help the country, and see how best we can help individual people to safeguard or to protect their assets, especially finances,
Sure.
financial transactions.
Sure.
That's the most important part. So not going too much in details, just want to introduce everybody else who the members are. So it's myself as a CEO, Chief Executive Officer, and then we have Mr. Nelson Matsela, who is Chief Operational Officer,
Okay.
soon to be announced doctor in a couple of
Woo.
months. Yeah, and then we have Mr. Tio Lutswaka, who is our Chief Information Security Officer. And then we have Mr. Musedi Tunyane, well known as Cyber. He is Mr. He's a Chief Technology Officer.
Sure.
He's our Chief Technology. And a lovely lady, we have Corporate Secretary, which is Miss Musa Chobaban. So, yeah.
So I'm interested to find out, how did you guys start the journey? Yeah, I know you're very passionate 9 years in. How did you guys come together, and what inspired you to start the business?
Okay, thank you very much. With looking at the background that we all have, like I've mentioned, an extensive experience of cybersecurity, not just cybersecurity, basically, from different areas of security. We can mean about network security, we mean about application security, we mean about endpoint security. When we see all those subdomains of cybersecurity, so each and every one of us have an expertise in each domain. So we decided to come together, and then we started to say, you know what, cyber, Mr. Musedi, you're good at this. And then Mr. Tios, you're good at that,
Sure.
And then we decided just like, you know what, let's just basically come together and help try to see how best we can help our country, especially at this level, because I mean, we are we can say we're still behind in the digital transformation, So most of the organizations haven't adopted the digital transformation, digital inclusionists. So we've decided to say, you know what, let's basically sit down and then try to see how best we can help our country before we expand our footprint to the rest of Africa and globally.
Sure.
So yeah.
So as you're speaking, cybersecurity keeps popping up. It is also Cybersecurity Awareness Month, right? What is cybersecurity? I think it's a term that we use so frequently, but I don't think people really understand what cybersecurity is. So in your words and in the work that you guys do, how would we explain or define what cybersecurity is?
Okay, cybersecurity is considered as a practice of protecting information, protecting data, protecting the infrastructure itself from what we call the perpetrators, the hackers, bad actors. You can name them all,
Sure.
They have that common names. They've been the malicious actors, So for stealing sensitive information, because most of the time they steal sensitive information, they cause operational disruptions, and also they get to get insight on unauthorized systems.
Sure.
Yeah. So it's what we're saying is the best way to deal with this is to say that cybersecurity is the most essential thing, basically for everyone, including individuals and businesses. Because looking at ourselves, we are heading towards a digital transformation.
Sure.
So, and we rely heavily on technology. So that's the reason why I believe that cybersecurity could play a huge role in terms of protecting our assets. And
Sure. And
everything.
I love how you use the word asset, because I'm thinking TKO or Tethix, you have information. I have my client's information. I have systems that I use. I'm imagining a case where somebody suddenly locks me out of my own data that helps me make the business that I do, and then uses that to extort money or to hold me at ransom and so on and so forth. So why is it important for people to be aware, both individuals and businesses, to be aware and not to overlook the importance of cybersecurity?
When it comes to financials, the financial impact of cybersecurity, it's quite devastating. Because when you look at the individuals themselves, not looking at the business, we're talking about identity theft here. We're talking about drained bank accounts. We're also talking about stolen credit records information. So you get what I'm saying? So it might take a while to recover from that. I'll just make a typical example. A friend of mine once fought for a phishing scam where he was somewhere in abroad, and somewhere he did the transactions, and then he fought for a scam in the sense that he lost his credit card information.
Sure.
So it took him a while to recover from that devastating moment. You get what I'm saying? So I mean, for businesses, it's we talk about financial losses. We talk about reputational damages indirectly. Because at business sometimes you could also lose customers when you have that. And when you have like proper regulation standards within the country or within the nation or wherever, you will get huge legal fines.
Sure.
So you can see how big that is, the magnitude of, being compromised, the magnitude of,
as you're sharing this story, ne, I actually I'm embarrassed to talk about this, but I blogged about it, right?
Yeah.
Going back to your friend with the credit card situation. So it was the 29th, it's a confession, by the way, 29th of June 2024. I am at the flea market, I'm busy, I'm distracted, and so on and so forth. I receive a WhatsApp message allegedly from a friend and a / colleague, right? Yo, TK, I am stranded. I'm unable to transact. Kikopa ongomele 3,000 now. So the night before, I saw people posting on Facebook. I saw it registered. Now it is Saturday morning. I am at this flea market. I'm busy. I'm talking to customers and so on and so forth. This message pops up, right? So I need 3,000. I can't transact. I'll bring it back on Monday. And I'm like, okay, we've never had this kind of interaction with this person, but I trust her, right? And I'm like, hakina money in my SA account, but I do have money in my Lesotho account. So can I transfer from my Lesotho account? She's like, no, preferably from the South African account.
Okay.
Second red flag, right? Because I know she uses a different bank. And I'm like, the funds are not going to reflect immediately. If you are in an emergency, it's not going to help you. And then very quickly, I'm like, no, I can actually send it to your mobile number. This is me, but I'm seeing the red flags, right?
Yeah.
So fast forward, I transfer. I stop in the midst of the distractions. I stop because in my mind, she is stranded somewhere. I stop. I send her. I transfer from my Lesotho account into my SA account. And then I send her the message, the mobile money to the money to her mobile number, right? Monday morning, I'm expecting for her to refund my money. The actual person sends me a message and says, my account has been hacked. Please do not respond to any financial requests. And mind you, as the finance guy, I speak about phishing, smishing, all the different identity theft and so on and so forth. I felt like a complete and utter idiot. So the question I want to ask you is, how does cybersecurity take place and how do they prey on our vulnerability?
I feel sorry for you for
Oh,
that.
I feel like
I feel
absolute.
sorry for you because it's the same feeling that I felt for my friend, right? Because I mean, it's quite devastating, and it's I can imagine the emotional toll, basically, mentally, when you're dealing with finances, it's just one of those things that you need to be very careful about, right? I mean, like you've mentioned phishing. Phishing, it's one of those oldest tricks, but they're quite effective. They're quite effective because I mean, somebody can pose as a legitimate user. I'll just make for an example. I came across this other email this past 2 weeks. So, and then this is what happened. I found that on one of the emails was that it written that we have suspected something suspicious. So please click on this link. Mind you, that email that was sent, it had the bank's logo, the actual bank's logo, and it had the actual footer. That's so convincing.
Sure.
But when you look at a close inspection, you see that there are some few red flags, like there were characters, one character was missing, for instance, I would say, I would write an email saying coming from maybe, let's say, maybe teamasasa@ethics.co.ls, right? Whereas the email came in was off with one character.
Sure.
Instead of an A, it was an at the end of Sasa. You get what I'm saying? So it's a psychological game. You get what I'm saying? Because it creates urgency, it creates panic for you to respond to such emails, So I'm just going back to that, just making it a typical example on that one. So there's some quite red flags that we need to spot as people, especially when it comes to phishing. Because phishing, like I've mentioned, it's one of those effective cyber threats, cyber attacks. Yeah.
I think for the benefit of the Trailblazer community, maybe let's explain what phishing is. And you can maybe also touch into, you've mentioned identity theft. You've also I've mentioned smishing. I never know how to pronounce it, smishing. But maybe take us through very quickly what those different things are and then how we can spot them or what we can do in order for us to be aware so that we are protected.
All right. Phishing by definition is just when somebody else is posed as a legitimate user. So basically, he steals your identity, basically, and poses as somebody else. Or else smishing. Let's mention smishing is just basically all about. It's the same thing. Let me just say that.
Okay.
It's the same thing. It's just that they've been used in a different way. You get what I'm saying? So a smishing is basically saying that you're sending an SMS posing as a legitimate banker or somebody else or a personal banker, sending an email saying this is quite urgent. TK, can you please transfer this certain amount of money and all this stuff, And with you being in that mode, and you will just basically panic and then try to send and transfer certain amount of money. You know what I'm saying? And there's also what you call phishing, the one that is used for phone.
Okay.
Yeah. For phone calls, basically. They call you and then they tell you, hey, TK, you have wants 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. So how about you provide us with your credit card information number or whatever, bank account details and all this stuff. So yeah, it's pretty much one umbrella.
Sure.
Yeah, it's just one of those tricks that people use most of the time because they know that we as people, we are the weakest link, basically, in terms of like money, basically. We know that we want quick money, we want all the stuff.
Quick money.
Yeah, quick money. So people love money. So, I mean, people use such tactics to manipulate people.
Sure.
Yeah.
So a quick summary, smishing is SMS.
Yeah.
So you receive an SMS, a short message to say, click here, do this. Phishing is email. And then phishing is calls.
Yeah.
All right. So those three are, so we need to be very mindful to say that would I receive a message like this from my bank? Would my bank send me an email like this? Let me look at Dumelo ads. Something's a bit off. So so I always say to my trailblazer community, which I did not practice in that example that I mentioned, think before you click, So
100%.
are you saying to us that from a cybersecurity perspective, when we receive any sort of communication, before we respond to it, pause, think, and then apply your mind?
100% agree with you. You know, you have to take a deep breath, and think about it, and also check if it's actual genuine, and you should also check the message, the content itself, because we sometimes make mistakes, like I've mentioned, because we tend to quickly click, without even going through the actual email itself. That's where the problem is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what tips should we have? You've mentioned like think, breathe. What additional tips can you recommend that we implement as particularly in line with the Cybersecurity Awareness Month? What are some of the tips? So number one is before you think, before you click, think about the situation, analyze the situation. Number two is if it's urgent, it's usually a red flag. What additional tips do we have?
100% TK. No, spot on that one. Other phishing attempts that you need to be careful of. It's the body itself, the content within the message, grammar. That's one other important thing. Grammar. It's the most important thing. Also, we tend to overlook it. You get what I'm saying? And misspellings.
Can I jump in a bit there? Back to the example, the 29th of June 2024.
Yeah.
What caught me off guard is, firstly, we don't have this type of relationship with this person who was making this request. But I remember very vividly that in 2023 September, we were traveling somewhere together for a work engagement, and we had a similar conversation. That's what got me off guard. But what was strange is the grammar that she used, or allegedly used, as like, this person does not communicate like this. This person does not text like this. For the way, it looks legitimate, but you still react that way. So how the grammar, the typos, we know how we text, we know how we speak. So it's very weird how the grammar, very exciting how the grammar is also a red flag.
100%, because it's something, like I've mentioned, it's something that we overlook because we tend to but like before that's the problem with us as people. You get what I'm saying? So grammar and spelling mistakes, it's one of those things that we need to be very careful about. You get what I'm saying? Because just to distort the whole conversation, or distort the whole content itself. You get what I'm saying? So it's one of those things, one of those red flags. We consider them for individuals and also as business people to consider and to be aware of. You get what I'm saying? But also in the email, there's what we call this, I think I mentioned earlier, like an email address. An email address is something else you need to be very careful about, because people use that to mostly to compromise the organizations. You get what I'm saying? So we need to be very, very careful on that one. I mean, it's just a matter of convenience for hackers. Convenience.
And they thrive on the vulnerability and the distractions that we have.
Exactly. The distractions that we have, those small vulnerabilities that we tend to overlook. That's where they capitalize. Because remember, these guys, they don't want something that's very hard. Like, let me just say, all they want is just simple way to get inside.
Sure.
And once they're in, So that's how it is.
Did you know that over 40% of employed Basotho earn less than 2,500 per month and often make uninformed financial decisions? Join us and we will help you navigate the complexities of managing finances. Imagine tailored financial solutions and transformative educational programs designed to eradicate financial uncertainty. We aren't just consultants, we are dedicated partners accompanying you on your journey to financial freedom. TKO Financial Wellness, where your success is our decisive victory.
So, as a business person, when I hear cybersecurity, when I hear compliance, when I hear all these other things, I'm like, cost, 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 cost. So from a business person perspective, how important is it to invest in cybersecurity? And what are the benefits of me prioritizing cybersecurity, particularly as a business owner, whether small, medium enterprise or all the way to a corporate organization?
Well, to start with, what I've noticed that there's a misconception with regards to cybersecurity costs. People tend to think that cybersecurity it's quite expensive. Well, yeah, not with regards to that part, because there are one of those solutions we call them that's like a top tier solutions, which which are the ones that I can be more suitable for bigger organizations. You know what I'm saying? But there are small solutions that small medium enterprises that can use. For instance, I'll make a typical example. You can also apply what do you call an antivirus on your machines, ensure that you have an antivirus that is running. You can invest into not so huge firewalls. You know what I'm saying? You can ensure that your people are getting trained, your staff know about what's happening within the cybersecurity space, because we know that human are the most weakest linked. They consider it as we are strong as we are
as strong as our team. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean those are the few things that we need to consider. But for businesses, you can for top or large organizations, they tend to break the bank.
Sure.
Yeah, tend to invest in one of those big solutions, cybersecurity solutions. We call them the big firewalls, intrusion detection systems, and so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But in a nutshell, it's a matter of ensuring that you protect what's important to you.
What's important to you. Yeah, that asset that you spoke about.
Yeah.
And I think, as you were mentioning, we've seen cases of cybersecurity, whether within the banking industry where banks got hacked. We've seen it with different companies where their data was breached, and the reputational risk that came with that. So I'm thinking there's a young trailblazer who's a business owner like myself and Liu, who's thinking, okay, I'm concerned about I'm concerned about protecting my most valuable asset that could literally, that's the heartbeat of my business. How does your company help those people, whether it's a small, medium enterprise? How do you help me to say, I am TKO Financial Wellness, I have my client's data, and if this data and these files were to be hacked or to be breached, how does your company help me? Second question to that, follow up to that, is I'm always on my phone. I'm transacting on the go. I have my mobile apps. I have my internet banking. I have all those things. How do I protect myself, and how does your organization help me?
All right. Now, thank you very much, TK. The most important thing as organizations, we tend to look at the governance side of things. You get what I'm saying? I'll just basically touch on the large corporations. They don't have, mostly that I've worked with, it's just the framework that has been adapted. You get what I'm saying? That's something that's going to guide you. It's just like you get what I'm saying?
Sure.
So that you can get your policies and procedures. You get what I'm saying? So it's where we can start. That's where we can start. That's the area that we can start and ensure that we have our paperwork well intact. And then we say that, okay, you have your own policies intact. I will just say basically you have your antivirus policies intact. You have your users, what do you call this? Charter. You get what I'm saying? For instance, I'll just make that typical example on that area. So it's just one of those things that we need to look into, ensure that the paperwork, the governance side is fine, it's well intact, and then now we move forward to the controls.
Sure.
We're now talking about the security measures that we need to implement within your organization. So the security controls that we will implement will be determined by, first of all, your budget, How big is a pocket? How big is a pocket? So yeah, how big is a pocket? So now we'll come and sit down with you and sit down and say, okay, it's fine. This is how much you can afford. Like I've mentioned earlier, that we can start from simple saying, okay, we can invest into
Antivirus.
antivirus. Maybe you can invest into just a simple firewall that could help you at least maybe just to manage the traffic that's coming inbound and outbound, basically. So that's how it is. And the second question was you asked
I'm
me
on my phone.
you're using your
Consistently on my
mobile
phone.
transactions and everything. We cannot run away from the fact that right now we using like a mobile phones to do financial transactions most of the
Sure.
time. You get what I'm saying? But the most important thing that I advise most people is please ensure that you have what you call this two-factor authenticator all the time. You know, two-factor authentication, it provides an extra layer of security. You know, it's for instance, I'll just make a typical example when you are just basically using your mobile devices trying to access maybe your banking's details and everything else. So it's easier for someone else. Let's say you lose your phone and someone get access to your phone and somebody else is just going to go through your browser history and all that stuff and just get inside the caches and everything and all this stuff. You know, such information, it's now easy to go around it. But the moment that you have an extra layer of security, which is a two-factor authenticator, it really helps to build or to strengthen to strengthen your account itself.
Sure.
You know, knowing quite very well that you are the only one who has access and nobody else
Sure.
does. You know, there's still that layer of defense. You know?
Sure.
Yeah.
And when you speak about the two-factor authentication, you know, a lot of people who watch this show are between 25 and 34 years old, right? So I'm assuming they're very tech savvy. I'm assuming they're all these on-the-go kind of people, you know. And there are cases where people's Facebook or social media platforms are being hacked. And these are people who are using their platforms as businesses, you know, social media influencers, business accounts that are doing very well, you know, and suddenly they are locked out of their accounts, and then the person holds them at ransom in order for them to get their data back, you know. So talk us a bit about, as we wrap up get closer to the end of the conversation, is talk us through ransom. What is that? Ransomware? Like, how does that work? And here I am, I've built a huge following on social media, and now suddenly somebody hacks my account because I did not have the two-factor authentication. And now suddenly I don't have access to my social media accounts or my bank account or my business emails, for example, you know. And now suddenly I get a call to say that in order for us to get you back online, you need to pay X amount of US dollars. Yeah, talk us through a bit of that.
Oh, I mean, you know what I'm talking about, ransom, man. I mean, it's wow. It's one of the most dangerous and widespread cyber attacks or cyber threats. You get what I'm saying? I mean, what it does basically, it's just to hold your information hostage. Imagine that. You know, it holds your information hostage and it locks you out of the system, and then you don't have any access. And this is what these guys demanded. They demand ransom. You get what I'm saying? And that ransom, how is it paid? It's paid with Bitcoins.
Oh my God.
You're not using instant money. You're not using cash to pay those guys. You get what I'm saying? You're using Bitcoin. And Bitcoin, it's untraceable money, right? We know about that, you know. So it's one of those tough cyber attacks that we consider them as if you get compromised with such an attack, then you should be ready to ensure that you rebuild your whole infrastructure or your whole environment. But for an individual, as a person, it's not easy because most hackers or the perpetrators themselves are basically attacking the organizations, you know what I'm saying, to hold information ransom, because they know that information is the most, it's the next oil. Or
it's the next oil. It's the next currency.
Yeah, you know, it's the next currency. Data, it's,
currency,
you know, it's the most valuable thing. You get what I'm saying? So you need to be very careful with that. So what I can consider for an advice for ransom for organizations is to ensure that basically they do the backups, you know, frequent backups, make sure that your systems are back up and all the time, you know. Also at your phone as well, because somehow, somewhere, there's what we call ransom as a service. People also use that to compromise mobile devices, you know. So they can also hold your mobile device at ransom, and now you don't have access to your phone.
Oh my
And then
God.
now you need to pay ransom. So what we also advise, I think one of those what do you call this? These mobile phones, I call
Smartphones.
smartphones basically. They now have the extra layer. They now consider security as the most important thing when they
Sure.
develop their applications, when they update their softwares. So we always advise people to back up their information so that it could be easier for them to retrieve it should anything happen. Because once you let's make an example, you delete you restore your phone from factory, meaning that you're losing everything, right?
Sure.
So now you need to ensure that you collect that information, and then you'll be able to use it seamlessly.
Sure.
Yeah.
And as we wrap up the conversation, what's next in the world of cybersecurity?
Oh,
What should businesses and individuals prepare for? Like I mentioned in the introduction, it's technology is rapidly evolving. It's advancing at a crazy speed, and sometimes we are often left behind. And a month like October, where we celebrate or acknowledge or observe cybersecurity awareness, is what's happening, what does the future look like, and how do we best prepare for that?
I can say technology is constantly evolving. We know that, right? It's constantly evolving. There's always new threats, emerging technologies. I mean, look at it now. We living in the artificial intelligence era. You get what I'm saying? So I mean, like artificial intelligence tends to now outsmart the security tools.
Sure.
You get what I'm saying? Security controls and security tools and everything else. Also, we also have what we call the Internet of Things. We have smartphones, we have self-driving vehicles, smart refrigerators, smart TVs. Everything's just now smart, and everything is now interconnected. You get what I'm saying? So we need to be very cautious because look at it in a holistically when everything is now interconnected and we're now living in that digital space. We need to ensure that we safeguard ourselves and ensure that we provide adequate security measures at all times to defend ourselves. So looking at the financial sectors, because at the financial sectors now we've moved to what do you call cryptocurrency. We've moved to digital currencies and all this stuff. So what I advise most of the time is that for organizations is to be proactive rather than reactive. Proactive in a sense that ensure that all the measures are intact. There's no silver bullet in security.
Sure.
There's no silver bullet in security, but you need to ensure that you minimize the risk at all times. All you have to do is just minimize the risk, make the risk to be at its barest minimum. You get what I'm saying? So now, all I can say is just we are going there. So we need to adapt with the changes. So and be very careful and ensure that we defend ourselves, apply security measures adequately, and ensure that we stay intact and protect our finances. The most important part. And what I can say is protect our finances.
Protect your finances. This episode was proudly sponsored by Tactics. I will plug the website in the description notes below, www.tactics.co.ls. And again, this was a great conversation with the one and only Mr. Tumelo Masasa from the CEO, Chief Executive Officer. Ish! We've got labels here.
Yeah.
So in closing, I know I mentioned the website. Where do people connect with you guys? And maybe plug in your social media platforms and just how people can reach out who are saying, we are concerned about our cybersecurity issues or matters, and we would like to enhance or beef them up. How do they connect with you guys?
We're available on LinkedIn as a social media platform. Other than that, we are available at, or you can reach us out on our email, which is info@tactics.co.ls. Also provide the contacts that you guys maybe viewers,
I'll plug in the conversation.
The viewers can be able to see the contacts as well.
Awesome.
So other than that, you can go to our website and www.tactics.co.ls. Yeah, that's where you can find us.
Thank you very much for coming through to My Money Adventures podcast. I'm hoping that as more and more people watch this show, they will prioritize the cybersecurity. I've personally been a victim of cybersecurity, despite the fact that I speak openly about digital fraud and all of that. And yes, if you don't believe me, I have a whole blog post where I do a money confession. So let me know in the comment section below if you've also been a victim of cybersecurity, how you navigated that, and what the outcome was. Did you have to pay somebody to get your data back? Did you avoid have a what we call a dodge the bullet kind of situation? Or let us know what your experience was, because I know we all have a story to tell, because cybersecurity is something that we overlook and often do not prioritize. So I want to see all of that in the comment section below. Let us know. Remember to give this video a thumbs up. Follow Tactics on all the social media platforms, including the website, which I'll plug in the comment section below. And do not forget to also follow us on all social media platforms. We're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn, we have our website, our learning portal, which we'll always plug in the comment section below. And let us know what you want us to talk about in the next few episodes. October, like I mentioned, is Cybersecurity Awareness Month. It's also Mental Health Awareness Month, but it's also Financial Planning Awareness Month. So October is all busy. So until the next episode, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Money is an adventure. Let's enjoy the ride. A big shout out to our creative team behind the camera. That's also photography, Visa Street, and of course the makeup. Lee is our makeup artist. I will plug all those details in the comment section below so that you get looking good in front of the camera. Until the next one, Mr. Tumelo, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Love, peace, happiness. Love to me. Love, peace, happiness. Let's remember that money is an adventure. Money is a ride. Money is an adventure. Let's enjoy that ride. Take care of your cybersecurity. Do the two part. Why did I forget it now?
Do the two part?
No, authentication.
Oh, two-factor authentication.
Two-factor authentication.
Yeah.
The factor just disappeared, and we will see you in
Yeah.
the next episode. Cheers. Good evening.
All right. Thank you, TK.
Thank you for being here.
All right. It's a pleasure.
Cheers.